You finally realize, I have nothing to heal because I'm perfect, I'm eternal. My body may having a few problems, you know. Sure, my body's showing signs of this or that or whatever disease. That's my body. But there's really nothing for me to do to mitigate the problem with my body. All I have to do is find out, is to, actually there's nothing to heal, only something to reveal. When we reveal the fact we're whole, complete, and perfect, our body is healed, right? Yeah. The body, the physical. When we realize there's nothing to heal. And so doctors will say, and we've had cases here, you remember a few years ago, our beloved Bill. I walked in and Bill Paul was sitting in the back and it was like this. He was buying into a diagnosis. And he was hanging his head, and I walked in. I read energy. God has given me the gift that I can read energy. I walked in, I knew exactly what to do. I went up to him, I said, what's bothering you, Bill? And he says, I just went to the doctor. This lump on my head, he had this lump on my neck. He said, they can't operate on it. It's cancerous. They can't operate on it. And it's attached to my spinal cord, so they won't deal with it. So they want to pump me full of chemicals and whatever, and radiation. And I said, Bill, would you be willing to come up forward to our spiritual family? That's a piece of cake. We'll take care of it. I had to say that because he was buying into something they didn't need to. If we're going to mitigate, if we're going to lessen the impact that a diagnosis has on our life, then we've got to get into this idea that I am a soul and that the impossible is possible. So Bill came up. How many of you were here then? Bill came up and we did a hands-on treatment for this man. I like the hands-on stuff, and I did a little Aramaic stuff. And he went and sat down. Well, a few weeks later, he said, Angelo, I want to speak to the group. So he stood up, and I don't know if you remember that, and he thanked you because he said the doctors refused to operate. He says, but then they had a second thought, and they said, no, let's reevaluate it. And they went and reevaluated it. And he says, it's nothing like, it's just a jelly mass that they sucked out of my body. Isn't that cool? Now, is that a miracle? Who knows? But the bottom line is, he's still functioning and he's okay. We can go on and on. Here at the PLFC, we always witness the impossible, always, with Bill and with others. We had my dear friend Mary Ann Dvorak in the back a couple weeks ago, and she was kind of somber, and I thought, oh gosh, because we've been treating for her friend who has pancreatic cancer. And when she said it, I immediately feared the conditioned mind just drives us nuts, doesn't it? I mean, I immediately went to that negative. And I thought, oh my God, she died. And then she said, I just found out that the pancreatic cancer is gone from her body. Oh. And Mary Ann stood up and said, thank you for praying. So we can mitigate whatever's happening to us in the physical. Don't buy into it. Know that beside, we are not the physical. We are this just unimaginable life source that Bob talked about last week. He tied it into quantum physics, and I will do that for you. But that we're this wonderful essence that's powerful, that's not limited by anything in the physical. That's who we are. And the third one, I'm going to move it right along, and the rest of it will be another talk some other day. The third one is pretty interesting. Always expect the best. Always expect the best. I've counseled so many people who expect the worst. It's unbelievable what they go through. Always expect the best. Always expect the best. Always. I want to bring up Monahan because this guy, when he was in high school, he said, "I'm going to own the Detroit Tigers someday." Well, he's an orphan in an orphanage, and he hasn't got any money. And he tells the people, I'm going to own the Detroit Tigers someday. That's what my job's going to be. And they all laughed at him. What happened to this guy Monahan? Oh, anybody know? He went to college and he didn't make it. Dropped out. Then he said, I've got to support myself. So I went to work for a pizza joint. And then, here's how Spirit works in our life. When we have radical reliance on this inner source that we are, things happen. He got out of the way and he let them happen. Then he decided to open up his own pizza parlor, which he did. And it became what they call now Domino's. And Domino's turned out to be 41 outlets, a $3 or $4 or $5 billion operation. And in 1980, guess what this guy did? He bought the Detroit Tigers for 50 million bucks. Now here's an orphan, for goodness sakes, in an orphanage with no money, who really believed in what we're talking about today and did something about it. We can all do that. If he can buy the Detroit Tigers for 50 million when he has nothing, we can actually do all the things. We can handle everything that's happening in our life. We can go ahead and identify ourselves as who we are. That's soul esteem. I am a soul. And we can know that the impossible will work. We can also know that there's nothing to heal, there's only something to reveal, and the revealing is who we are. That's the awakening that Maggie's talking about. Be sure to come next Tuesday, because she's telling us how to do that. And so when we do that, and then we expect the best, the universe never gives us more than we ante up. And Jesus said, whosoever, and I always slaughter the Bible. And Fillmore used to like to quote Jesus, and he gave us the key on that. Whosoever believes that his word is truth will have to experience the result. And say it with me loud and clear.
And so it is.